What is up, guys? This is Tuan here. Today we are going to be installing Raptor lights. I think it's also known as indicator lights. And this is what we're going to be using today. And I got these off of Amazon, and I will make sure to put in the description. So this is what they look like. This should be a pretty simple install. I also got expandable braided sleeves just to put the wiring inside, so that way there's more of a clean look to it. Also, it protects it a little bit. So yeah, let's get started. First off, let's pop the hood. This is where we're going to be installing it. The end of the Y is where the middle is going to be, and then 2 over from that is where we're going to put the other one, and then 2 over on the other side is where we're going to put that last one. So what we're going to have to do with this, because I don't believe that this fits in there perfectly. So when we get it in there, it actually doesn't fit. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to make a small circle in the top, so that way this top part of this can actually fit in there. So if you can see here, this doesn't actually go in there, and we need this to actually slide in there. So we're going to need to either using like a soldering iron to either melt this top part a little bit, or we're just gonna get a drill bit and just shave off this top part just a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use an X-Acto knife. I'm gonna find the middle, or where I think is the middle. Just make a cut in the plastic. That way, when we use this soldering iron, we know exactly where to go. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to push up. That way we melt the plastic a little bit. Let me show you guys what I did. Come on, focus. Alright, so here's what I've done so far. Just made a small, almost half oval on that part. I'm just gonna continue to do it until one of these actually slides in there perfectly. Alright, I just put this in just to see if it'll fit yet, and not quite yet, so we're just gonna keep melting the plastic just a little bit more. Like we're almost there. All right, and we are there. So what I wanted to do was have this thing sit completely flush, which we achieved right now. So next step is to clean up the plastic back there and then just tighten this thing down. So here's what it looks like after using the soldering iron. So you can see right there, it's like a half circle. That way this thing can sit in there completely flush. Now let's move on to that one and then this one. So how this works is the screw will come off and then it will attach to the back side of this. Alright, so what we do now is loosen that up, bring it to the other side, line that up, and tighten down that nut, just like that. Perfect. Alright, so now that they're all in and flush, we just got to do the wiring and then we'll be done. So far it looks good. So here's what the back looks like. There's the other one way over there. Okay, so what we are going to do now is we're going to wire all these three up. Okay. So what we're doing now is grabbing all the wires and we're going to connect them together. Next, we are going to be using some of this braided sleeve over each of these wires. That way it has some added protection. Now that we have the wires in the sleeve, what we're going to do is we're going to run it on the back side of the grill all the way over to here, which will come out here, and then we got to figure out which power we want to plug it into, either the daytime running light or the side marker. Alright, so grabbing the first one, I'm actually going to zip tie it to, there's actually a hole right here. See this? So I'm gonna go under that and then zip tie this to that location. So I'm not gonna zip it down all the way just yet, but if you guys can see, I got it just right under this lip right there. And then moving to the next one, there's another one of those holes right here. So we're gonna be zip tying these two into that one. So what we got so far is this one running under here, and then when we're ready, I'm going to cinch all this down tight, and that way it sits flush, and then cut the ends of these, of course. Alright, so the next one is going to be the driver's side one. So we're going to lay these guys neatly on top of each other like that, and then there's a circular or oval hole right above there, so we're just gonna put it in, and if I can get it, there we go. Next we're gonna grab all these guys here, and we're actually gonna wire these guys together. So as you can see, some of them, the farther one of course away from here is the shortest, so we're going to cut it to all the same length. We're going to cut it right here, that way they're all the same length. Just like that. And then I'm going to pull this back a little bit so I can cut some of the sleeve. Right, then we're gonna strip it a little bit at the end, about maybe half an inch or so. Once we have that, I'm gonna put the disconnect circle end in. Then we're gonna crimp it. Give it a little tug, make sure it's in there. Next, we're going to do all the black. And we're good. So it's going to look like that when we're done. So here's what it looks like. There's the first one, which is on the passenger side. And there's our zip tie that spot. Here's the center one. Then here, let's see if I can shut it. There's the third one. So I ran it there, And there's where I zip tied that last spot before going inside behind the headlight. So here's what it looks like from up here. So behind here is the very first one on the passenger side. There's that zip tie to that hole. Here's the middle. And then it runs over here, past this. There's that other zip tie right there. And then we're going past this plastic piece. And there's where we are at right now. And then now we just need to make the other end and then connect it to whichever power source we want to do it. All right, so the next step, what I did is I cut two 18 gauge wires, maybe about a foot and a half, and then we're going to connect the male disconnect to the end of this. And the reason why we need two is that I read on Tacoma World that the daytime running light has two power wires. One is the green and the other one is the red. Reason being why there's two is that I guess they're when it's daytime, the daytime running light come on, and then when you switch it to headlight, the red takes over. So the red is power when it's nighttime and the green's power during the daytime is what I understand when I read that. But I guess we will just try it out and hope that it works. Let's get these guys stripped. These are an 18 gauge and this male disconnector is a 14 to 16. So that way it compensates for being twisted together. So get that in there, crimp it down. Next step, we're going to connect the red with the wires that we just made. And we're going to tuck it. Then we're going to grab two of these splices for an 18 gauge, since we use the 18 gauge wire. Since I'm tapping into the daytime running light, I went ahead and disconnected this from the headlight, and I cut back the sleeve right here so I can expose the wires a little bit more. And then the wires we're going to be splicing into is the red and the green. So I'm going to put one of these on the red. Like that. I'm going to put the end, one of these on the other side. I'm gonna squeeze this together, squeeze that together to make the connection. There we go. And we'll just close that. Okay. I'm gonna do the same to the green. So here's how they look after I spliced them. So the red and the green are spliced with the two red 18 gauge wires that we cut from earlier, and here's the other end that we're going to be connecting. Next step, we're going to be making the negative wire. So what I'm going to do first is strip it. We're just going to connect this male with the other female black. And this is gonna go right there where the existing ground is. And then we're gonna just find a way to tuck it nicely, and we should be all done. We're all done. Let me show you guys where I actually put the ground. So originally I was gonna put it there next to the battery, but I actually found another ground right down there with all the white and black wires. So that little end there with the blue, that's our ground for the Raptor lights. So as you can see, I zip tied it to those black and white wires, and then down here, and then that's where it ends with the disconnects. Here's how they turned out, guys.